Hi and welcome, Sarah here with some more air dry clay creations. These are all quick and easy projects and simple for beginners. In this video I'll show you the different ways that I add gold to my air dry clay. Here I have some gold leaf. It's super fragile but really lovely to use. So we can of course add this to our air dry clay. I'm going to make some Christmas decorations with this, but you can of course add the gold to any of your projects that you wish. So please watch through to the end and see all of my projects. For piece number 1 I've rolled out my air dry clay and now I'm simply taking the gold leaf, letting the moisture of the clay adhere the gold leaf to the clay, just like this. Because there is moisture in it, it wants to stick, and so just pat it all down nice and gently at this stage, and if there are any little bits missing, then of course you can add some more. If you want to make a larger piece, then obviously you can piece together the gold leaf squares and make a much larger surface area gold. For this piece I want a nice crackled effect, so once the gold leaf has adhered and stuck, just take the rolling pin and very gently roll over the gold leaf and the clay, and you'll see the tiny cracks appear. You can do this as much or as little as you like. I absolutely love this effect and I'm really excited to see how it turns out. You can see that the gold leaf is so lovely and shimmery and is going to work really well with the clay. This effect works really well if you have a cookie cutter or similar to press down and cut out your shapes with this. But if you're careful, you could also use a knife. Always save the outer clay because we're going to use that again in a moment. As this is a Christmas hanging decoration, I'm just simply taking a straw and making a hole for some string to go through. Tidy up the edges with just a wooden or a metal tool, and we don't really want to add water at this stage, but we can use our tool to just smooth out those edges. Any sections you feel you might have missed, you can actually add that gold leaf in again, just like this. The shimmer on these is absolutely beautiful and I can't wait for these to dry, so I'll set them aside to dry now and let them dry completely till they're bone dry. And of course we're going to use up our excess clay, and I'm simply just jigsawing it together so we can use that gold leaf on the top. Just make sure on the bottom you smooth it all out as well, and all that clay adheres and becomes one again. Roll the remaining clay and you can repeat this process again. I'll show you the final pieces in a short while. For our next piece I have cut out some air dry clay shapes and let these dry fully. We're going to use the gold leaf again, but this time we're going to see if we can get it in a bit more of a precise pattern. If you have some embossing glue, then use that with the gold leaf, it will work perfectly, but I don't have any at the moment, so I'm using some Mod Podge and I'm just doing an experiment to see if I can get the gold leaf to work in the same way as the embossing glue. So let's see if it works. I sketched out the letter B in pencil, then I've simply used a fine paintbrush to add the glue in the shape of a B. Then I'm gently just placing the gold leaf on top, and I will leave this to set and dry completely till we remove the rest of the gold. These air dry clay pieces are now fully dry, and you can see a lot of the gold leaf is still exactly the same, but the moisture seems to have made quite a different effect on this piece, so I'm going to varnish them and see if that comes back to life. The pieces are now varnished and dry and I'm absolutely thrilled with how they've turned out, and I hope you give this a go too. The glue on this piece is now fully dry, so we can remove the rest of the gold leaf. I'm going to use a dry brush and flake off the rest of the gold. The embossing glue would have worked so much better, but I'm still pleased with how the Mod Podge did work. On that little section of the B at the bottom there, I'm just going to add a little bit more glue and repeat the process again, and then we'll have our beautiful letter B. Alternatively, for this kind of design, I would normally use some gold pens. On this video for my bee coasters and little trinket dish, I did the transfer technique, which lots of you loved, And lots of you have asked the question, can I do it on dry clay? So have a go with this technique too. Here I have my fully dried clay, and I'm just taking a small amount of water on my finger and rubbing that over the surface of the clay. And then I have my inkjet printout, and I'm simply placing this down on the clay and I'm letting that transfer through. I'm doing this technique not so that the transfer can be the final effect, but so that it acts as a guide for me to go over with my gold pen. Tease the paper back just a little and have a look to see if the transfer has happened. You can then add a little bit more water, but here I can see I've added too much water, and so that ink is going to bleed a little. It doesn't matter in this instance so much, but that just goes to show if you put too much water on, that ink will bleed a bit too much. So here we're just after a faint transfer to act as our guide, and that's perfect for this. I've let the water just dry off, and then I can go in with my gold pen. These gold pens always need shaking and then pumping the nib, so if you pump the nib up and down a few times, it releases the ink, and then we can get on and draw in our design. As you can imagine, you can do so many designs and variations for this. Any sections that are missing, you can just go in with a pencil and use that as your guide as well, just like this. So I hope you give it a go, like I am, making some decorations for my home this holiday season. Make sure you set that aside and let it dry really well. The pens can take a little time to dry, so don't smudge them. And as you can see, they do leave a really lovely sparkle. I'm going to add some more sparkle to this, so I have some glue in Mod Podge. You can use any glue at all, and I'm simply adding this around the text, and then with my dry brush I'm just going to flick on some of those little pieces of gold leaf. The gold leaf can crumble really quite easily, so this is a great way for using up all those little bits that are around on your table as you craft with the gold leaf. I absolutely love how sparkly this is, and it's really lovely. I've let that glue dry completely, the text is dried completely. Just go over the whole piece with a top coat or varnish of your choice. You can do so many creative projects with these techniques, so I hope you give it a go. I absolutely love this, and I can't wait to hang it on my tree at Christmas. To add more gold to your pieces, you can find lots of embellishments and ribbons and bells and things, and of course a nice metallic spray paint would work really well as well. I love to add imprints into my clay, and here I've done that with this star. It's really lovely to bring out the details with some gilding powder. I don't have any at the moment, so here I'm just showing you in a similar technique with some shiny gold paint. You can also find lots of gold acrylic paints and use these to paint on your air dry clay too. I absolutely love the effect it has on this piece, a really nice distressed look and a nice shimmery gold effect. You can do so many different designs. These are some cute dog templates that I use to make these little softies. All you do is put the fabric right size together, cut around, sew them together, and then turn them the right side out and stuff them with some toy stuffing and add a little ribbon and hang those on your tree too. But you could also use the template for some clay. You don't need to use these templates, but if you'd like to support me, I'll put the link in the description below and you can buy these templates along with some others. And I would be super grateful for your support, so thank you. Thank you too to all the lovely people that have recently bought me a coffee. I'm thrilled with how all my gold air dry clay has turned out, so I hope you give lots of them a go and lots of my other air dry clay projects over here on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.